is time for another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show. The J-Man is back this week after he watched his Illini beat a terrible, terrible Minnesota team. But I am back thanks to Big E, Eric Lee, for filling in for me. He does a very admirable job. So thank you, Big E. How you doing out there, T-Dog?
Doing good, J-Man. Boilers are back in the number one slot, so
Yes, they are.
I don't have much to complain. Only Big Ten team ranked, which we'll get in discussion about that here in a bit. But doing well for a Monday. That is January 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
This is your last show as a 30-year-old, isn't it?
Yeah, 31 doesn't hit as different as 30 does. I kind of forgot it was. My birthday's Thursday. Oh. But I'll be sure to hit up Crumble Cookie for my free cookie. You bet your bottom dollar.
Does Illinois play Thursday?
No, they play Tuesday and Saturday this week, I believe. Yep.
Well, at least they can't ruin your birthday.
They'll find a way somehow. Terrence Shannon will blow out his knee, or somebody will just quit the program. Or something will happen with the Dolphins. Something bad's gonna happen. It usually does.
Maybe the Cubs.
The greatest birthday ever was back-to-back birthdays. They've played really well. On my birthday, they beat a number 13th ranked Maryland team when Illinois was trash. Io's freshman year. The next year, they go into Michigan, and Io hits a buzzer beater against Michigan. So it's been pretty good on my birthday here the past few years. I don't remember what happened last year. That weekend I went to the Illinois Northwestern game and they found a way to get it done. So
I remember
a little bit of a streak around my birthday.
Well, hopefully whatever happens is positive for you and you keep it going.
We'll see.
Well, I got some birdie or bogey here for you tonight. Let's see if you can take a one-stroke lead or get it wrong and join me in the 2 over par club. I got to be careful how I word this so I don't give it away. Patrick Mahomes, He's pretty good.
Not too shabby.
He's about to start his 5th conference championship game. That ties in with Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers. But there are 5 guys who have started more conference championship games since the AFL merger in 1970. Name 4 for a birdie, or no, 5 for a birdie, 4 for a par.
5 guys who have started more than five conference championship games?
Yes. Manning and Rodgers started exactly 5, which Mahomes tied.
Manning was only in 5. Huh?
Only 5.
No, and he went to how many Super Bowls? 4?
Mm-hmm.
So he had a pretty good success rate once he got there. But
yep.
Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House. I don't have the thing pulled up here, but it's a great restaurant in Rochester, Indiana. I think you say big town food in a small town or something.
Yes,
like that.
I'm going to pull up what they got as their special tonight. Or their special today and tonight looked like it was a prime rib sandwich.
Oh, I love
delicious, juicy prime rib topped with caramelized onions, provolone cheese, banana peppers, horseradish cream sauce, and a cup of au jus for $20.
I love all that stuff.
So, over the weekend they had lemon rosemary chicken.
Oh,
what else did they have this past week? A California avocado burger, seared scallop tacos last week. Those are just a few things. Taco Tuesday is tomorrow night, I'm assuming. I know last week they had Taco Tuesday, which was $3 tacos, $5 margaritas. Arlington Public House is open during the week, or Monday through Thursday, I should say, 4 to 9. And then they are open later on Friday and Saturday. So those are just a few things you can get there.
I'll tell you what, after hearing the specials tonight, I don't think my Chipotle is going to taste nearly as good after the show.
I had a frozen za before the show, and I'd rather have some Arlington Public House food than the frozen za.
Real quick, top 5 frozen pizzas.
Freschetta number 1.
What is it?
Freschetta?
Never even had it.
But I didn't have it. I had DiGiorno tonight.
Can't go wrong with DiGiorno.
DiGiorno's not too bad. I used to be a big Jack's guy.
I hated Jack's. Something about Jack's.
In a while though. What else? What else is there?
I love myself a Tombstone every once in a while.
Tombstone's not bad. Tony's isn't too bad. They all kind of like Jack's and the Tony's. Yeah. They all kind of taste the same.
Cheap.
But
I've been on a screaming Sicilian kick here recently, which is pretty good.
They got some good pepperoni. They got like a pepperoni, extreme pepperoni, or like something like a pepperoni explosion. But yeah, Freshetta is good. It's I like their pepperoni pizza, the rising crust pizza. That's pretty good. It's kind of fluffy crust. It's pretty good
for a frozen pizza too.
Yeah, so I'm still pretty big in the frozen pizza game.
Me too. Once a week.
Yeah, about once a week or once every other week. And tonight was the fiance's call. She said, "Let's just do frozen pizza." I said, "Which one? Freschetta or DiGiorno?" She said, "Let's do DiGiorno." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I wish my fiance would be like, "Let's have a frozen pizza tonight," but she, I can guarantee you that will never happen.
All right.
You're a lucky man.
Not a frozen za fan, huh?
She's not.
She gets on me for saying za. I'm like, hey, you just don't hang around Josh and I enough.
I was gonna say I'll be quite frank, it's the D-bag way to do it, and that's what we're known for. So
that's very true. Very true. It was, I think it was Spence or somebody maybe it was Doug on King of Queens said za one time.
I think that's where we got it. Yeah.
Is that where you got it from? You said it first, and then I kind of just
I think it was
piggybacked off of it. Yeah. So good stuff. Za, good za. But anyways, go get some food at Arlington Public House. Open Monday through Saturdays in Rochester, Indiana. What do you want to start off tonight with, J-Man? Should we educate ourselves? Should we talk about our last 7 bowl predictions of the 23 bowl predictions for 2023? What you feeling?
I have On This Day pulled up unless you want to do it. Does not matter.
If you have it pulled up, I'll let you do it. I will pull up the banner. So.
Beautiful. On this day in 1950, the NFL rule change. The NFL rule changes open way for 2 platoon system, offense and defense. I wonder if that means they can play both ways. It doesn't specify, but it seems like that would mean.
Yeah.
On this day in 1953, the NFL Dallas Texans become the Baltimore Colts.
Dallas Texans became the Colts. Okay. And then I know there was a Texans team that became the Chiefs later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also on this day in 53, NFL's National and American Conference become Eastern and Western Conference. So they used to be East and West back in the day. On this day in 1959, who won the 9th NBA All-Star Game MVP?
59. I know George Mikan won some in the 60s. 59. Jeez, who played in the 50s?
I'll even give you a hint. They were first co-winners of this MVP award. So there's 2 guys, both Hall of Famers.
I figure they're Bob Cousy and Jerry West.
Elgin Baylor and Bob Pettit.
Pettit was on this day last week.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
On this day in 1978, who won the NFL Pro Bowl MVP?
78. Gosh, man, I'm blanking on people who played. Let's go Terry Bradshaw. I don't know.
Walter Payton. Although it makes me never want to use this side again because they spelled Payton's last name wrong. They spelled it like Peyton Manning more than they did Sean Payton.
He came to my mind, but I was like, he was more 80s. But that would make sense. Yeah. Darn it. Should have just blurred it out.
On this day in 1983, the Mud Bowl. I've never heard of the Mud Bowl. Miami Dolphins beat the New York Jets 14-0 in the AFC Championship game on a wet, muddy field, which negated the Jets' significant speed and skill advantage.
So you're telling me you've never heard of the Mud Bowl and it involved your favorite team?
Never heard of the Mud Bowl. Probably because they got waxed by the Washington Redskins in the Super Bowl that year. That's probably
heard of the Fog Bowl and the Snow Bowl.
The Ice Bowl.
Ice Bowl, that's what I was thinking about. Snow Bowl, Ice Bowl.
Yeah. On this day in 1984, Hulk Hogan defeats the Iron Sheik to win his first World Wrestling Federation title.
First of many. I think he would go on to win it 8 times, I want to say. Maybe 6, but each time he won, he held it forever. So, what you going to do, brother?
On this day in 1998, listen to this stat. Michael Jordan scored in double figures for his 800th consecutive game. He added 40 more double-figure scoring games to set his NBA record before retiring for the second time. I don't think that'll ever be broken.
Like, how
That's
did he not
absurd.
just have like a real off night and get in foul trouble and score like 9 one night?
Or they're have a bad night, they're getting killed or something. They decide to sit him in the second half or
roll an ankle halfway through the game or something, or first quarter.
840 consecutive games in double figures. That is absurd. I'd never heard that one before.
Yeah, that's man.
On this day in 2000, Quad City's own Don Nelson becomes 6th coach in NBA history to win 900 career games.
It was a good one. Never won a title, though, did he?
I do not think so.
As a coach, at least?
Yeah, I don't think so. On this day in 2015, Golden State guard Klay Thompson scored the most NBA points in a quarter when he scored 37, and he hit 9 3-pointers in that quarter, which is also the most in NBA history in a quarter in a Warriors 126-101 win over Sacramento Kings.
I remember seeing highlights of that game.
Yeah, me too. It was obviously one of the late ones, like a 10 o'clock start time, Eastern time.
Sure.
On this day in 2018, LeBron James becomes the 7th youngest player to reach 30,000 points. He was 33 years and 34 days.
He's a good one, too.
On this day last year, maybe the greatest playoff game ever played, definitely the greatest divisional game ever played, where the Buffalo Bills lost to the Kansas City Chiefs 42-36, back and forth
overtime.
in the final minute of regulation, where the Chiefs had 13 seconds. Somehow they had all 3 timeouts left. I still don't understand how that happened. And they were able to get in field goal range to tie it and then won in overtime. But, yeah. That is going to do it for
the Bills didn't get a chance.
Nope. They didn't. And then they got killed yesterday. Did not even make up for it. So,
which we will talk about here in a little bit. But first, the On This Day segment, like it is every week, is brought to you by Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of North Carolina with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects at Mooney Woodcrafts on Instagram and Facebook. And if you let them know that the Tan and J-Man Show sent you, you get 15% off your order. Well, we have 16 of our 23 bowl predictions for 2023 down. Let's rattle off our final 7. And I don't know about you, but I struggled coming up with 7.
Oh boy, was it rough.
I threw some interesting ones out there for sure.
These are ones that are like almost so absurd that they're going to be wrong, but I had to come up with something.
Well, at least you don't already have one wrong like I do with the Jim Harbaugh one.
I do have one wrong. Sean McVay will be on TV next season. But other than that, I think I'm still alive in pretty much everything.
I'm not feeling too good about my Brady and Rodgers retiring ones, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'll let you go first with your first one.
I think I had this on last year's one. Maybe it was 2 years ago. There will be a first-time MVP winner in both the American League and National League. I think Vladdy Jr. will win it for the first time in the American League. In National League, I keep picking Ronald Acuna Jr., but it's going to happen eventually, and I think this is the year.
And you picked Vlad last year, so yeah. I do remember that. So yeah, might as well stick to it till it happens.
And there was a first-time winner. Aaron Judge won in the American League. I don't remember who even won in the National League. That was Bryce Harper. He's won. He's won before
a couple times. My first one's pretty bold because it's never happened before. The Denver Nuggets will win the Western Conference. They're sitting number 1 right now. We'll see if they can sustain it. I don't know. They got to stay healthy.
Yeah, and trade deadline's coming up here too next month, so they should be able to. I don't even know. I haven't really followed the NBA, to be honest.
I haven't watched much.
I don't really know what they need. Obviously, they have one of the best players in the league, and I almost called him Luka Doncic. He plays in a different Western Conference, but Nikola Jokic, and then some other obviously really good pieces, but you can see that.
Yeah, Murray being healthy has helped them tremendously this year. So.
Yeah. Michigan State will miss the NCAA tourney for the first time since 1997.
Man, I hope you're right on that one.
Me too. They're trending right now in that like 8, 9, 10 seed range. A lot of season left, but
there's a lot of season left.
They've lost some home games. Northwestern, obviously losing to Purdue's not a bad loss whatsoever, but losing at home to Northwestern is. And they bounced back and beat Rutgers, but then they got waxed pretty good by Indiana yesterday.
There's not too many teams in the Big Ten that aren't trending the 8, 9, 10, 11 seed line right now.
Right.
My next one also involves the Denver Nuggets again. Nikola Jokic will become the 3-time reigning MVP award winner.
That would be shocking because I think it's going to go to Luka.
Yeah.
Or Jason Tatum maybe. But
yeah, he's putting up good stats, but for whatever reason, the NBA just doesn't want to market the guy. I don't really understand it. I mean, I don't know many guys in any league who have won back-to-back MVPs, and they just don't really put them on any promotional posters, commercials, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why that is. If it's the way he looks or plays or whatever, I don't know if they don't think he's hilarious too.
Yeah. I mean, him and Luka, I enjoy watching the way they play basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Europe way is starting to take over a little bit, fun. And it's making it a lot more fun to watch for sure. No Big Ten coaches will be fired at the end of the season once again. Last year, obviously, there was a coaching change at Maryland, but Mark Turgeon left in November or whatever it was last year. As for candidates to get fired, you look around the conference. Maybe Hoiberg, they're better than they were. Chris Collins, they could absolutely implode, which it feels like it's starting.
I could see Chris Collins fitting at Notre Dame if they want to go down that route.
Could see that, absolutely. Fran's not going anywhere. Underwood's not going anywhere. Painter's not going anywhere. Woodson's not going anywhere. Izzo. Howard might leave on his own.
Guard's not going anywhere.
Guard's not going anywhere. Peikel's definitely not going anywhere.
I don't think Johnson's
as
going
far
anywhere.
As fired.
Not yet.
No, I don't think so either after just 2 years. They're bad, but it could be a 3-and-done if they don't show at least progress next year.
Watch for Shrewsbury to get some interest from Georgetown if that job does come open, which it should.
Is Georgetown a better job than
nationally? It is.
Traditionally, for sure.
I mean, you could get better recruits probably there than you do at Penn State, and you don't have to fight with football. You're never going to be a basketball school at Penn State. Georgetown, you don't have football.
And the DC area is loaded with talent too. The DMV.
They got to get rid of Patrick Ewing.
Did you see that clip of him not even coaching? Like his assistant was coaching in the huddle, and Ewing had like his arms around the guys as an assistant's drawing up a final play down 3 with 6 seconds left or whatever against Villanova. The only reason why he's probably, for one, that's why you never hire a legend. You can't hire a legend. Shouldn't do it ever. And the only thing that's saving him is in a miraculous COVID Big East tournament. Big East is that? Yeah, they're in the Big East. Big East tourney run back in 2021. So
you're right. Yeah, you're 100% correct. My next one, I went a little Indy 500 here, Josh.
Ooh.
Joseph Newgarden will win the Indy 500.
Can't tell you if that's bold or not, but I like it. Sean Payton will decide that TV is better than any of the job openings.
I would think we'll find out by the end of this week.
Probably. I saw he's interviewing in Arizona this week.
He's interviewing for second time in Denver on Wednesday. If Denver really wants him, they better not let him get to Arizona on Thursday.
Yeah.
He was in Carolina today.
It's going to take a first-round pick. It'll be interesting because you look at the jobs open. Carolina's not that desirable, I wouldn't say. Who else is open besides Denver, Arizona, Carolina?
Colts,
Houston.
But he's not interviewing the Colts.
Yeah, Houston's not that desirable, although they do have a top 5 pick. And I think a budding star, a couple stars coming up on defense. Colts isn't that desirable, though they do have a top 5 pick. The problem with going to Arizona or Denver is you're saddled with a quarterback, and if you don't really like the quarterback, then what do you do? But
it is going to depend on if he goes to one of these teams, which team the Saints want to trade with. Because if he goes to Carolina, the Saints are probably going to ask for 2 first-rounders because they're in their division. True. If he goes to Denver, Arizona, it's probably a first and a third and some money. It's kind of what it sounds like. But there's so many conflicting reports. There's reports out there that Sean Payton is making his own trade, pretty much deciding what the Saints are going to get in return for him. And then there's so many different reports out there. I don't know what to believe, but I really think the Broncos, I think it's going to come down to Sean Payton or Dan Quinn. I'd be surprised at this point if it's not one of those two.
Yeah.
Penn State will win the Big Ten East.
Ooh,
everybody wants to talk about Michigan and Ohio State. I think Penn State's going to be preseason ranked in top 10 as well. And I don't know, just kind of feeling somebody different.
I like it. I'm sick of Ohio State, Michigan. The Bears will stand pat in the NFL draft and pick that number 1 overall pick and not trade out and be a defensive player should.
Go get Carter from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good one. It'll be interesting, though. They can get a lot for that.
Yeah. They should trade out, but who knows?
The XFL, which restarts here soon for about the 100th time, actually the 3rd time, but it will last more than one season.
Your love for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson knows no bounds.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And I don't know. I feel like the last time it would have lasted more than one season if it wasn't for COVID.
It was real bad timing.
But it still wasn't doing that great. And the first time was just a awful timing to try when he tried that. So
yeah,
at least Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's running instead of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So
that is true. I have a real hard time watching football in March.
I know.
March and April.
I will say I will give the XFL more of a chance than the USFL that's still going on.
Unless the USFL turns into a developmental league, I think it could last where they're not trying to make money, but they're not going to make any money.
Well, I'm hoping that's kind of what the XFL does eventually, because Dwayne's got a good relationship with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was at Super Bowl last year. He kicked off the Super Bowl stuff when it was in LA. So I'm hoping maybe they can work some kind of developmental feeder system eventually. Mm-hmm. We'll see though.
You remember old NFL Europe back in the day?
Oh yeah, Kurt Warner cut his teeth over there.
Good point.
Yeah.
Boston Celtics will win the NBA championship for the first time since 2008.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm. They're 1 seed. It's not that bold, but I mean they were in the finals.
A lot of season left, though.
So.
A lot of season left. Crazy stuff can happen in playoffs. So I don't know. We'll see. This one I've been holding off on. I didn't want to do it, but I decided I needed to make another bowl. I had 2 left to make, and my dad actually did it for one of his bold ones last week. So I'm not going to be scared anymore, and I'm going to do it. Purdue will make the Final Four.
There you go.
No, I probably jinxed them.
Book it.
I'm not booking nothing. I say that for you.
Deion Sanders will severely break a recruiting rule and be forced to resign.
I will say it's interesting to follow that program right now because they are getting some crazy guys to flip and transfer and some NIL stuff. But it's supposed he's got some strict rules. Like there's certain things if you do once, you're gone. But I'm just going to be fascinated to see what the results on the field look like.
Yeah, it's going to be entertaining. Either way you look at it, if they're good, it's going to be entertaining. If they're bad, it's going to be even more entertaining. But
I mean, I'm thinking 7 or 5, 8-4 is a heck of a season next year if they can do that after winning like 10 games the last 4 years combined or whatever it was. And he said the goal is to go undefeated. So
it should be the goal.
Which is a good mindset, I guess. But
yeah,
I'm like, we will see. We will see.
Yeah.
My final one.
You had to do it.
The Seattle Supersonics are going to be announced coming back to the NBA.
You know what? I guess that's not technically an expansion team because I'm going to say if you get that right, I'd get my expansion right.
Oh,
it would probably be an expansion.
Yeah, it's like the Browns when they came back to Cleveland. Yeah,
good point.
Yep, Sonics, baby, Sonics.
I'm rooting for you.
I don't watch a lot of NBA, but if Sonics come back, all on board again. That's what it's going to take.
Sean Kemp, head coach, GM, player.
The ring man, the glove. Get the ring man in the glove.
Gary Payton coming back.
Detlef
Shrimp.
Ray Allen can be the shooting coach. Rashad Leonard. Rashad Lewis. Lewis.
Forgot about him. Kevin Durant can come back. His career can come full circle.
Hey, Russell Westbrook was drafted by the Sonics.
Yeah,
never played a game there though. They moved it like a week later.
Durant actually played a full season there.
Yes, he did. Nick Collison, He was a Sonic and the Thunder forever.
Long time. Yeah, long time.
They were awful towards the end.
They really were.
They were not good. But yeah, so you started, right? So we're done with those.
Yep.
We will see how badly we bomb on our 23 bowl predictions for 2023.
Got a handful right last year. I probably get a handful right this year.
It's fun. It's fun to do every year.
It is. I don't know how I'm going to have 24 next year. I'm already sweating it.
Well, if this one doesn't happen this year, I'm going to try to guess it next year. I'm going to try to guess this one next year.
I mean, I've put Rory on my bold predictions about every year we've done it. So
well, and I really wanted to make some NFL ones, but they were all postseason related, and I don't like when we get to the end of the year and we don't know if it's going to happen or not. Still, we have to wait. Yeah. So
I really wanted to put like Joe Burrow will win MVP or stuff like that.
I wanted to put that Trevor Lawrence was going to lead the league in passing next year, or I almost said that the Jaguars win the AFC. But I still think that's maybe a little too bold. But I seriously think within the next 3 years, so not counting this year, so either 24, 25, or 26, I think they'll make the Super Bowl. I just have a weird feeling.
Book it.
Weird feeling. But like our good friend Cameron Screeton said in our group text, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the AFC. I mean, you got Mahomes, Burrow, Allen.
Allen regressed this year.
Herbert, even though they didn't make they did make the playoffs. They just choked it away to the Jaguars. Tua. I mean, you got a lot of young good quarterbacks in the AFC.
Yeah, the AFC is dominating the quarterbacks right now. You look at the guys left. I mean, Jalen Hurts is good. He's got a 7th round pick, Josh Purdy. That's probably a product of the system there, but I guess that's what they said about Tom Brady too. Dak's not great.
Kirk Cousins can't get it done.
Kirk's bad. Rodgers is done.
Daniel
Brady's
Jones
done.
We'll see.
Daniel Jones is probably a product of Brian Dable that he can run.
Jared Goff had a good year this year.
Goff had a good year. Justin Fields is a runner.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the NFC quarterback situation is not that great. Carolina doesn't have a guy. Atlanta doesn't have a guy. New Orleans doesn't have a guy. Seattle doesn't have a guy.
Tampa Bay's not going to have a guy.
Tampa Bay's not going to have a guy.
In my opinion.
I agree with you.
I want to pick your brain on that, though, real quick, before we get into the NFL. So, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers both could retire. It was rumored today by Schefter that Green Bay's looking to trade Rodgers. Probably more serious now than ever. You know, Denver sniffed around, tried to get him last year, even tried to get him the year before in the 2021 NFL draft. Both didn't come to fruition. But Schefter's reporting that it could happen not the Denver, but it could happen this year where he gets shipped off somewhere else. He mentioned the Raiders and the Jets as 2 possible landing locations. And then when it comes to Tom Brady, teammates were getting the sense that he wants to come back for another year, but not necessarily in Tampa.
Yeah, I think the most likely scenario for Rodgers is the Jets. That's the team, at least I've heard the most.
He's going to follow his mentor, Brett Favre, isn't he?
Then
he's going to go to the Vikings.
He's going to go to Minnesota. Brady's been mentioned Niners because he's from there and he grew up a big Niners
fan. That would
fan.
be interesting with their quarterback situation right now.
Yeah. I'm not completely sold on Brock Purdy. I know he's winning games, but again, great. I mean, as Debo, McCaffrey, great defense. Didn't look great yesterday. Hasn't looked great in a few weeks. Raiders have also been mentioned.
Too, though. They got Trey Lance, and I know he's never really been getting a chance because he got hurt.
Yeah, and in the chances he got, he wasn't great, although it was just a game and a quarter or so. But and then also the Raiders for Brady is one team back up with McDaniels there. They'll have Devontae Adams. It's Vegas, and obviously Miami's going to be mentioned. Brady's, it seems like, wanted to play for Miami for years now. Has a house there. He's close with Stephen Ross, a couple of those guys.
Michigan man.
So, that probably the Michigan connection. So Dolphins always be mentioned. Chris Greer, their GM, has come out and said, I can't put it any more clearly. Tua is our quarterback. Now that means nothing until the season starts, to be honest. So lot of time till then, a lot of time till the league's new year starts, which will be in March sometime. But I expect them both back.
I expect one of them in Vegas. Just my luck.
Maybe Rodgers with Devontae again.
That would just suck. Broncos were so close to getting him twice and then have to face him 2 times a year.
Which one would you prefer there?
Brady.
I would too. I think
Rodgers is more left in the tank.
Yeah, I fear Aaron Rodgers a lot more than I do Tom
Yep.
Brady anymore.
Me too.
So.
Me too. And Brady's historically struggled in Denver. So,
Yes.
which, well, Rodgers didn't play well last time he played it, but they play there so sparingly,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't feel good about my two bold predictions of both those guys retiring anymore, but we'll see. A lot can happen.
Yeah, Rodgers has been holding the Packers hostage for years now. He's such
Yeah.
a he is the biggest diva quarterback. It's disgusting.
It'd be interesting for them if they do get rid of him, if they're like, all right, keys are yours, Jordan Love, or if they go try to get somebody, say, Jimmy G, or if he goes to if Brady goes to San Fran, Trey Lance if he becomes available, or who knows who's going to be available. I mean, technically Lamar could be, even though the Ravens are going to at least franchise tag him, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think Lamar will be leaving.
Yeah, I don't
he could hold out though if he.
Would you give him that much money if you're the Ravens?
No,
I wouldn't either.
Well, I mean,
I wouldn't either.
He's won an MVP, but then you look around the league at all the terrible contracts. Tannehill got a couple $100 million deals. Dak Prescott's on $100 million deal. Dak's a guy that didn't deserve it. Like you look at the Russell Wilson one, and it looks terrible now. But at the time, again, like he had earned that sort of contract. Kyler Murray didn't deserve that kind of money he got. Deshaun Watson didn't deserve the kind of money he got. So in order to have any sort of quarterback, you're going to have to pay that. And so I think the Ravens will come to their senses.
I do too.
They've seen the alternative, and it's Tyler Huntley, and it's bad. So
their offense coordinator, I don't know if he got fired or quit. I don't remember.
He'd been there a long time.
And he was kind of the fallout guy. It's not his fault what happened with their offense.
Mm-hmm.
It's not his fault they don't have wide receivers. Wide receivers don't want to play with Lamar because he runs around so much. He doesn't really. I don't know. It's just odd situation.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Hollywood Brown wanted out of there. Yeah. He ends up in Arizona. I mean, they have a great tight end in Mark Andrews, but their wide receiving core is not good at all. No. They can run the ball real well as a team, but passing the thing is going to be an issue.
Right. But had an interesting round of games this weekend in the divisional playoffs. So Kansas City beat Jacksonville in a somewhat close game. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville just could not take advantage of even a injured Patrick Mahomes being out for most of the second quarter.
Chad Henne looked pretty good.
Your boy Chad Henne coming in reserve. Yeah.
It's interesting how teams can have quarterbacks get hurt and their backup comes in and it doesn't look that much different.
Yeah.
Can't say the same in Miami.
Can't say the same in most places, I would say.
Most places,
but there's a couple that's how they run things. So Kansas City's going to host the AFC Championship yet again. This is their fifth straight AFC Championship appearance. Nauseating. They will face the Cincinnati Bengals, who went into Buffalo on Sunday and just manhandled the Bills. Mm-hmm. I mean, not only did they commit no penalties the whole game, they are penalty free, which is saying something on both sides of the ball. They just controlled the line of scrimmage on offense and defense all day yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Remember how bad their offensive line was pre this past offseason when they completely fixed it? And they were missing a few starters yesterday too, and it was just next man up.
Yep.
Burrow, I think, is past Josh Allen. I think he's the second best quarterback in the AFC.
I'm right there with you. I think they're both great. I think they're both top 5 quarterbacks. Burrow's going to get paid like one this offseason. Cincinnati's ready to do it, which good for them. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that sets them apart, and I do have another side note on Buffalo, is Burrow, the lights shine, the brighter the lights shine, the better he does. The guy he's just a gamer. He's got something in him. He's got some moxie, some confidence, even a little cockiness, but he backs it up. Mm-hmm. Allen did struggle a little bit yesterday, and the Bills kind of struggled down the stretch after winning 8 in a row at one point. But they had one of the most bizarre years I've ever seen in the NFL. Not only the Lamar Hamlin stuff, of course, but also they had a game in which they were facing the Browns. They had to get moved to Detroit. Mm-hmm. That which they won anyways, but they had to get moved to Detroit because of the snow. And then they had some other really big injuries this year, including one at the time, which a lot of guys weren't making a big deal about, Von Miller. I think that really hurt them down the stretch. They had no pass rush whatsoever.
Yeah. They had lost 3 games by a total of 8 points this year, and then they lose by 17 in the divisional round. They are a team that I don't think is built to win in January or February yet. They need some sort of running game. They ran out of the shotgun
You're right.
14 times yesterday, picked up 1 first down off of it. Allen, I think he regressed. He led the NFL in red zone turnovers through 14 total interceptions. Didn't look great yesterday. Did not look good the week before against the Dolphins. He's turned into what people think he is, who Joe Burrow is, who he's this cocky guy, but he backs it up. Josh Allen's whiny. He is the whiniest quarterback outside of Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, in the NFL right now. He's kind of dirty. He whines more than any quarterback. He has not backed it up. You can't lose at home in the snow by 17.
I expect the whiny comment from a Dolphin fan. I do.
Yes. Well, just watch him next year. Just watch it, because I mean,
I'll have to pay more close attention.
Year,
but I do agree they don't have anything to win snow games besides his arm strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still think they'll be a contender in the next few years. I think they'll make a Super Bowl here in the next 5 years, I'm sure. But yeah, I was surprised. I thought that was the game I was most looking forward to most. Excuse me, I can't talk on this Monday night. Looking forward to most out of all of them, but it was just the shellacking.
Yeah, it was from the jump, 14-0. Bills never really got back in it.
Nope.
Couldn't get a stop when they needed to. Offense wasn't good when they needed them to be good. So.
The Bengals just shows you what can happen when you get the right quarterback. I mean, they were the worst team in the league 3 years ago. Yeah. Even when we were in college, they'd make the playoffs with Andy Dalton and
Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, Marvin Lewis, that whole era. They'd make the playoffs, but they couldn't win a game. Yeah. Even with Carson Palmer beforehand. But now they're the real deal. And I know we'll make our predictions here in a bit, but it wouldn't shock me if they go into Arrowhead for the second straight year and come out AFC champions. The Saturday night game was also shellacking. The Eagles really took it to the Giants, and that was one a lot of the media, including myself, was kind of picking the Giants to pull the upset. I was just kind of thinking, the Eagles didn't look great week 18. I know Hurts will be more healthy now, but it's like, the Giants probably have some momentum winning in Minnesota last week, but Eagles jumped on them and never let go.
Yeah, the only reason I think people were picking the Giants is because of the New York bias, especially with the national media. I never thought Giants could put up enough points, especially in Philadelphia. And they didn't. I mean, it was 28-0 at one point, I believe. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't surprise me. Brian Daboll, a heck of a football coach. I think they need a better quarterback there in order to take him to the next level. Jones is never going to win you a Super Bowl.
I think you give him a 2-year deal, though.
Sure, you can try it again next year. I think there'll be a team that falls back into that 7-10 range next year. Saquon's a free agent, I believe.
He's not going anywhere. They'll wrap him up.
You wouldn't think.
I wouldn't think. Not too many times your running backs hit the market.
Yeah, running backs need to take as much money as they can get because they're not going to get another contract after their second one. So
true.
Yeah.
So more times than not, we see running backs get traded later on than we do them leaving via free agency. But the Eagles are going to host the NFC Championship for the first time since when they made it with Nick Foles and beating the Patriots. Minnesota. They hosted against Minnesota, which should have been against New Orleans, but that's another story. And they will be facing the San Francisco 49ers, who won a pretty close game, a touchdown game over the Dallas Cowboys last night. So the Cowboys, 26 years now, 26 seasons, I should say, they have not made at least the conference championship.
Yeah, they have the most playoff appearances without a conference championship appearance, the streak. I think it's 12 straight, or not 12 straight, but 12 years, or 12 playoff teams since they've been 12 playoff appearances, excuse me.
Yeah, there you go.
I think the second team is the Dolphins with 10. It's been so long since they've even won a postseason game. But I don't think they're a team that can win a quarter or win a World Series. Good Lord. Win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. Wouldn't surprise me. Jerry says he's not going to fire McCarthy, but that play call at the end where Zeke lines up as center and just gets demolished, and then it was the worst play call ever. Teams are interviewing Kellen Moore this week too. He's the one that called.
And Dan Quinn's been getting interviewed too. I think Dan Quinn's the bigger loss for them than Kellen Moore, because Dan Quinn's had that defense before he got there. Their defense were some of the worst in the NFL. Now they're some of the best year in, year out. So
yeah, Micah Parsons is probably the best defensive player in the NFL right now. Really, I mean, just watching him toss 6'8", 330-pound Mike McGlinchey out of the just in the air yesterday
Yep.
pass rush is pretty incredible. But doesn't break my heart to see the Cowboys lose.
Breaks Skippy's heart.
Still have to hear about them all the time. It's ridiculous. I'm so sick of that.
Yeah, they are America's team. They get talked about every year. It's the same thing. They have a pretty good regular season.
Yep.
Everybody hypes them up. Playoffs, they might win one game, but that's going to be all you're getting.
I saw, like, is the Cowboys Super Bowl window closed? When was it ever open? I mean, they won their first playoff game in how long?
We were 3 years old.
Yeah.
3 in 1995, the last time they did anything in the playoffs. Yeah. We're
ridiculous.
30. You're about to be 31.
Yeah. They're the Knicks of the NFL.
Yes.
You have to hear about them all the time. Never win anything.
In MLB, I hate saying it, but it's Yankees are coming up on that doorstep.
Probably
haven't done anything since. They make playoffs and they make the ALCS once in a while, but haven't been to the World Series since 2009. Yeah. I mean, for somebody who gets talked about, who else? It used to be the Dodgers. We could talk about a lot, couldn't do it, but then they won one. So
yeah,
I don't know who else you put in that category in MLB.
I can't think of anyone.
Yeah. So. But it's going to be interesting. Who are you predicting wins the NFC and the AFC this weekend?
This will be the J-Man's bucket prediction of the week. I think the Super Bowl matchup will be the Cincinnati Bengals against the Philadelphia Eagles. Two teams that have been in it in the past 5 years. One won it and one did not. And I think I might take old, I'll talk about it in a few weeks, but I think I'd take old Joe Shiesty to win that one.
Yeah, it would be huge for the city of Cincinnati. That's for sure.
Skyline chili will be pouring out of every window.
I love myself some Skyline chili.
Into the sewer where it belongs.
I know you don't like it, but I love myself some Skyline chili.
J-Man's Book of British Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watchering for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watchering@infb.com. Okay.
Well, I think we are going to get a rematch from Super Bowl 23 of the Cincinnati Bengals, and the San Francisco 49ers.
That'd be pretty incredible to see old Brock Purdy. They say Jimmy G could be back. Would you bench Brock Purdy for Jimmy G right now?
You got a good thing going. You got good momentum going. Yep. Garoppolo's there in case you need him. If Purdy's really struggling or gets hurt, it's a good situation to have. And it'd be incredible to see both road teams get it done.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Jimmy G either. What are your thoughts on this incredibly stupid idea the NFL is trying to concoct where both championship games will be played at a neutral site?
Don't like it. I'm very glad that's we didn't see the Bills win yesterday just for that point, because I knew once you open up that can of worms, the NFL's gonna be like, oh, we can make more money.
We love it
doing this. No, just leave it be. Why do we have to mess with stuff?
For one, neutral site games, the crowd's not nearly as good in my opinion. For one, it hurts the season ticket holders.
Yes.
Hurts the fans of each team.
No other sport does that.
No other sport does it. It's so stupid that the NFL would, and hopefully the owners are like, no, we're not going to do that. But the owners will bow down before Roger Goodell before they do anything. So
I know we live in a money-driven world when it comes to anything, but it's just like, it's a little off topic. It's just like the NCAA tournament, even proposing to expand the field of 68. Why? Why are we messing with this?
Yeah. You mean 96?
Yeah, expand it from 68 is what I'm saying.
Oh, from 68. Okay.
To 96. Why? I mean,
you'd see teams like Georgetown get in. They don't deserve to get in.
Exactly. I mean, the Big Ten would have 11 of the 14 teams or 12 of their 14 teams.
At least 11 of the 14.
It's fine how it is. I didn't even like when they expanded from 64 to 68. I wasn't a fan of that. Now I've got used to it. Now I like it. I like the first four.
Yeah.
Just stop. Just don't mess with it.
Agreed.
It's the best postseason there is in sports. Agreed. Just stop. Does the best team win all time? Absolutely not. More years than not, the best team doesn't win it all.
Yep.
That's what makes it fun, though.
And that it literally takes away, like, wow, what's the point of trying to get the number one seed then? You know, you might you'll get one home playoff game. That's it.
Yep.
Stupid.
Yep. Just leave it alone, NFL.
Yep.
Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. And you've already expanded the playoffs. We're good with that. Just leave it alone.
Yep.
Leave it alone.
I have some word association here for you. It
All
is
right.
college. It's actually Big Ten football related.
Oh,
so
okay, cool.
2 weeks ago, I went back and did the number one recruit on recruiting rankings for rivals in basketball in the Big Ten. For football, it was a little difficult. The first couple are, but I just went back and went like in the top 100, just found a notable guy. A lot of them are the first one of the Big Ten. But starting with Beanie Wells.
Beanie, one of the more fun names to say. Real good Ohio State Buckeye running back under Jim Tressel era. Went to Arizona Cardinals, maybe even another team, bounced around a little bit in the league. Didn't really stay long in the NFL, but good college back under Tressel. Those are just loaded teams, loaded offenses.
Yeah.
Brian Hartline, I think Ted Ginn Jr., if I'm not mistaken, Troy Smith, Beanie Wells. I'm sure I'm missing others, especially on the line. Yeah.
Brian Hartline is a rising star in the coaching ranks. He'll get a head coach job here soon, probably.
Yep.
A lot of people forget this was a Big Ten recruit at one time, Ryan Mallett.
At Michigan before he transferred to Arkansas. He could sling it. NCAA football on PS3, he could sling the ball. Who was Michigan's quarterback that he couldn't beat out? I don't think it was Tate Forcier, was it?
No, he comes later in this list, actually.
Oh, okay.
Chad Henne was gone by that point.
Gosh darn it, who was that guy? Oh well. But yeah, Malik could sling it, but he couldn't win the job.
Terrell Pryor,
good one at Ohio State, but turned into wide receiver in the NFL. He was part of that tattoo ring scandal of Jim Tressel's. They end up getting Tressel while he kind of quit before he got fired, but so that's kind of what he's known as. But he was a good one in the line of many good Ohio State quarterbacks. You know, you had Troy Smith, you had Terrell Pryor, you had Braxton Miller, who then turned into wide receiver, JT Barrett, Cardell Jones, Justin Fields, and CJ Stroud, just one after the next. You had good guys transfer out of there. Joe Burrow transferred out of Ohio State. Tate Martell, he never ended up being anything. He transferred out of Ohio State. And Joe Burrow, people forget, wanted to go to Nebraska. Scott Frost said, no, thank you.
Yeah. It's funny how Ohio State tries to claim Joe Burrow now. It's kind of the same as Alabama trying to claim Jalen Hurts. I mean, they benched him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of Ryan Mallett, he was Chad Henne's backup in 2007.
Henne? Okay.
And then he transferred because Stephen Threet won the job.
I don't remember him at all.
Huh. Well, it was Rich Rod's first year, and they went 3-9, so it didn't go very well for him.
Oh, Rich Rod.
Yeah. Tate Forcier.
He was one of the first quarterbacks I remember watching live. It was either him or it could have been the other one. They played two quarterbacks that era. He would come up and smack his hands before the snap, like in shotgun. He'd really smack him out, and then he'd catch it with two hands. He was like, now you see it all the time. He's the first quarterback I remember kind of seeing it live. Like, that's different. That's really annoying, actually.
Devin Gardner.
I remember he ended up wearing like number 98 as quarterback his last year there at Michigan. That's kind of what I remember him for, but he came shortly after Shoelace Robinson, and they just kind of had those mobile quarterbacks there for a little while.
Yeah. I think he's doing Detroit Lions TV now.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Braxton Miller.
I just kind of talked about him earlier. He was a good Ohio State quarterback, then ended his Ohio State career as a wide receiver. And that nasty spin move week 1 against Virginia Tech, and they're saying Miller for Heisman, because he put up a great game. Didn't have that great of a season, but ended up getting drafted. I mean, JT Barrett did not get drafted, but Cardell Jones got drafted. Braxton Miller got drafted by the Houston Texans, and that was kind of a hybrid player for a while. But he was just, like I said, in that long line of good Ohio State quarterbacks.
This team was not a member of the Big Ten then, but they became a member. Stephon Diggs with Maryland.
I don't really remember him too much in Maryland. Of course, he's really good in the pros, but
he was the number 8 overall recruit in his
wow.
graduating class. Yeah.
Was he from the East Coast or from Maryland?
I don't know. I assume so.
Maryland's always been able to recruit pretty well in football, but I didn't really pay attention to them until they joined the Big Ten. So,
Christian Hackenberg
didn't live up to the hype at Penn State. Did get drafted by the Jets, but was okay at Penn State. But he was hyped up as like one of the highest rated recruited quarterbacks we'd seen in a long time in Big Ten country, at least, and just never was the guy.
The beginning of his name sums him up well. He's a hack. Jabril Peppers
could do it all for Michigan. They went to the Browns, and he was part of the what he was traded to the Giants for somebody. Why am I blanking? Or he was part of the NFL trade.
Yes, I remember he was traded to the Giants for OBJ.
Thank you. Wow, there's a guy I forgot about already. Yeah, but Peppers could do it all. He could cover people in college. He could return kicks, return punts, and I think he even played a little wide receiver at times, if I'm not mistaken. Charles Woodson-esque.
Yeah, I'll never forget the Big Ten hyping him up as a Heisman candidate, and I don't think he finished in the top 5. But even day of, they're hyping it up.
Right.
Jerome Baker.
Jerome Baker? I couldn't tell you who he played for.
Oh, that hurts me deeply.
Illinois?
No, he's Ohio State, but he's been the Dolphins' best linebacker for 4 years now.
I couldn't tell you who he played for. I couldn't tell you he played for the Dolphins. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry.
Number 55 for the Dolphins. Shows how relevant the Dolphins are.
You know, that happens too a lot to me. Like Broncos, I think have a good linebacker. I'll say something. I mean, you might know who he is because I talk about him enough. People are like, who? I go,
who's that? Yeah. Rashawn Gary.
Rashawn Gary. I'm blanking on the team he played for too.
Michigan.
That's right. Oh man, that shows you how little I've been following football recruiting the last couple of years. I blame Daryl.
You should know the next. You should know the next two. Chase Young.
Well, yeah, Chase Young was a beast at Ohio State, and he did play for the Commanders a little this year, didn't he? At the very end, did he come back from injury? Because he was out for the year, really, for the most part.
Yeah,
but yeah, he was a beast in college.
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, you said might be the best defensive player in the NFL, and he was a beast at Penn State. You knew from watching one game, it's like this guy's gonna be still the next level. Linebacker, you there, Penn State?
I'd say he's the best Big Ten player in the NFL right now, even more so than T.J. Watt or, the Watt family, I should say. But
at least on defense.
Two more here. Garrett Wilson.
Good Ohio State wide receiver. They had a crazy wide receiver core just a couple years ago with him, Olave, Harrison Jr. Then the other one I have trouble pronouncing his name.
He's next on the list, actually.
Well, I'll just throw him in here. They're both really good wide receivers. Garrett Wilson, good by the Jets. Yeah, for a while they thought he could be in the Rookie of the Year conversation. He won't win it, but still very good. Somebody the Jets can actually. Jets haven't had a reliable wide receiver in a long time. So he can be the first one of those. Yeah. And then the other guy, he
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
He was the one who set out the playoff game against Georgia, but don't think it really would have mattered. And he'll be a good player at the next level, I'm sure.
Yep. That will do it for
that was a good list. And that's going to do it for the Word Association, like Josh just said, which is brought to you by, like it has been the last few years of the podcast, Performa Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Performa Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call today at 574-210-3815. And once again, we didn't manage our time very well, so we will talk about Big Ten hoops, but not in as much length as we were hoping. I do have a question. I guess I want to make sure I get to. It's from our good friend Evan Webb sent me this today. Now, of course, my phone's making me unlock it here. All right. I want to get it word for word right here, so I'm going to read it. To do with the Big Ten, of course. He said, aside from Purdue and Minnesota, every Big Ten team has between 3 to 5 wins. Do you think that shows more parity or mediocrity in the conference so far this year?
I'm leaning towards mediocrity after watching teams play here the past, really for 6 weeks or so. It seems like it's been mired in mediocrity. Had some teams have some big wins, get up, get ranked, and then lose immediately and fall out of the rankings. Purdue's the only team ranked. There's 4 or 5 receiving votes. Indiana, Michigan State, Illinois.
Rutgers, maybe?
Yeah, Rutgers was receiving votes. I think there is parity in the fact that I think we'll see 8, 9, 10, or 9, 8, 9, or 10, probably not 10 teams in the NCAA tournament.
You still think they'll get that many, huh?
There's opportunities, especially on the road, to win. Now, I don't think Michigan State will make it. I don't think Wisconsin will make it. I don't think Northwestern will make it. There might only be 5 teams that I think right now are probably maybe not locks, but cemented themselves as probably pretty safe right now. And even those teams, one lost to Indiana at home on Thursday. An Indiana team has lost at home to Northwestern. So those are the kind of teams that I think are pretty safe right now, but it can definitely change.
Well, I think what could hurt the Big Ten in terms of how many teams are getting NCAA tournaments, like the Big 12 is so stacked this year, they could take most of that conference. There's other conferences that are really stacked this year, whereas in the past, Big Ten's either been 1 or 2 behind ACC. ACC is not stacked this year.
Yeah. The Big 12 average net ranking for all their teams is 28.
Yeah.
Which is absurd. The next closest is the Big 10 at 51.
Yeah. They're loaded. So, I mean, and the Big Ten's just a grind. I mean, you see, especially when you have the 3-game weeks. I mean, I saw with Purdue yesterday, they just looked worn down at the end of that Maryland game, which they escaped to win. You'll take it. Absolutely. It's still a win, but now they finally get a break until Thursday when they got to go to Ann Arbor, and then they host Michigan State for the second time in 2 weeks. But they just looked worn down. They played Michigan State on Monday, then they traveled to Minnesota on Thursday, then they hosted Maryland. They just looked tired. So that's the second time they've done that, 3 games. I think they're done with those finally. Yeah. So, and Purdue's played more road games than they have home. They have more home games remaining than they do road games, and they've won all their road games so far. So let's keep chugging along.
The Big Ten needs to look at their officiating. They've been needing to do it for years, but I'm not saying the officiating's bad, although a lot of people think it's bad. I just think the way they call games, there's a reason why the Big Ten can't win a national title. They call the game so much differently in the NCAA tournament than they do during Big Ten play. The officials,
100%.
It does not help.
100%. 100%.
Real quick, going through games here: Northwestern, Wisconsin tonight. Northwestern's up 6 at half.
I'm taking Northwestern.
I agree. Give me Northwestern. Tomorrow night we have Penn State at Rutgers.
Rutgers.
Give me Rutgers at home. Ohio State at Illinois.
Illinois bounces back.
Teams need it. I agree. I think Illinois bounces back. Matt Meyer he was sick all week last week, and I think he'll be healthy. Wisconsin at Maryland Wednesday.
Taking Maryland. I think Wisconsin slides.
I do too. Give me Maryland. Northwestern at Nebraska.
I'll take Northwestern.
Nebraska's played 9 Big Ten games already. Give me Nebraska at home. Indiana at Minnesota.
Indiana.
Yeah, give me Indiana. I'll just do one more here. Purdue at Michigan.
That place will be rocking. Michigan usually drains 3s all night long on Purdue up there, but I think Purdue gets it done on the road.
Give me Purdue. I don't think Michigan's very good.
I don't either, but
I've
seen it too many times up
there. Any rank? Well, there's only one team that's ranked, I guess. There's no ranked games in the Big Ten. Yeah, I mean, they're all intriguing matchups, really, because they are all.
And I think Purdue gets it done against Michigan State at home.
I agree.
They've had good luck against Michigan State in general, but especially at home last few years. It's up in East Lansing where it's going to be a nail biter. So I think they'll get it done on CBS and the prelude to the AFC Championship later that night. So.
Yep.
All right.
That Birdie Bogey.
Birdie or Bogey. Patrick Mahomes, one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. It's about to start his 5th consecutive conference championship game and his 5th of his career. There are 5 guys who have started in more conference championship games since the AFL merger in 1970.
There are 5 of them. I have to get 4 for a birdie or for a par.
4 for a par. I'm making it
Okay.
tough. We're making it tough on each other this year.
Tom Brady.
He is 1.
Terry Bradshaw.
He is 2.
Joe Montana.
He is 3.
Okay, I need 1 more for a par. These players had 6 or more. Anyone recent? Can't think anyone recent. Roger Staubach.
Yes, you got yourself a par.
Got his par. Okay.
You're at least
1
ahead of me.
Chance. Jim Kelly.
You got a par. Good guess. Elway, you want to help him out with this?
Oh, man, that makes me mad.
Hey, you're 1 over. I'm 2 over, so you got yourself a lead.
I failed you, Johnny.
All you could have done is just look behind me and just
wasn't even thinking John Elway. I should have, because he lost a bunch of them early and then won.
Yeah, won 2.
Well, lost a bunch of Super Bowls, I should say, but then ended up winning 2 Super Bowls.
Yep.
That upsets me. But thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show. We will be back at it next Monday with another episode. Have a fantastic week, everybody.